Hi guys, so I'm staying at a friend's house like we talked about yesterday, um, just because I had to get out of my house. Not having my wheelchair is absolutely maddening, and not being able to get out of my house independently is driving me insane. So I had to have a change of scenery and get away from it. Fortunately for me, I have some really kind, loving people around me that could see I was losing my mind, um, and offered me to stay with them for a few days. You know, what they say about a change that's good as a holiday, it's true. Um, Particularly when you can't get out of your flat. I've never been so excited to see a bed that wasn't mine. Let's talk for a little bit. First of all, I wanted to let everyone know that I have rented a temporary replacement wheelchair. Um, it's shit in comparison to my wheelchair. I can't find a chair that I can rent that has all the capabilities that my wheelchair has. In fact, I can't get out of my flat with this temporary replacement chair. So the situation is far from being sorted. Furthermore, London City Airport is legally obligated to provide me with a temporary replacement chair, and they have not done that. We're on day 148 without a wheelchair. That means they've had 147 days to do what they're legally obligated to do by EU Regulation 1107 of 2006, which states the airport, regardless of all the parties that are to blame, the airport will provide the passenger with a temporary replacement wheelchair in the event of their wheelchair being damaged, albeit not for a like-to-like basis. And they haven't done this for 147 days. And they haven't even offered to pay for the temporary wheelchair that I've had to rent now. And that's their fault. The regulation in the law is very clear, and we have offered to discuss this with them. We've given them the name of a more appropriate wheelchair, which could be rented. We've provided them exactly outlining what I needed in a wheelchair, and they won't provide me with a temporary replacement. So now I'm having to pay for a replacement that won't even get me out of my house because I rented my flat on the assumption that I would have the other wheelchair. And now I don't have any way to get out of my flat. Maybe when I'm back I'll videotape what it's like to get out of my flat with my new wheelchair. And now I have footage of me going out of my flat with the wheelchair that BA in London City Airport broke. So So maybe that will be an interesting comparison so you can see exactly what the problem is. That would be a brilliant vlog. We'll do that next week. Meanwhile, let's talk about diffusion of responsibility, because that is exactly what's going on here. Diffusion of responsibility is a psychological proven thing, and it's when so many people can take action, but because there are so many people that can make things right, no one steps up to the plate and does it, because everyone else is expecting some other party to do it. It's a scientifically proven thing. It's shocking. And that is what basically is going on here. There are multiple parties to blame. British Airways is very much to blame. They should have never changed an aircraft when they knew I was bringing my wheelchair. They should have never mishandled the check-in process. They should have never booted me off a flight, which I bought a ticket for on the basis of discrimination. So they're to blame. London City Airport is very much to blame in how they train their staff, in the day-to-day ongoing of what happened at the airport. So, for example, their staff didn't refuse to communicate with me when I told them what the wheelchair needed. Instead, they chose to communicate with my PA. That's not cool by any stretch of the imagination. Their ground crew is actually responsible for loading and unloading wheelchairs. But while they outsource this, which is yet another party that they are seeking to blame, they are responsible for the training that ground crew receives. There's so many parties who can step up to the plate and do the right thing and make this situation better. And yet no one is doing it because there is a diffusion of responsibility. And that doesn't mean that nobody's responsible in this situation, which is how London City Airport and British Airways are choosing to see it, by blaming each other rather than taking responsibility themselves. There's an ongoing battle, and you see it all the time when you're disabled, is if I blame someone else and the blame is no longer on me, then it's not my problem. And again, the person trying to fix the situation, who needs their mobility back, has to do this runaround and figure out who's going to take the blame. And here we are, 148 days later, and no one's stepping up to the plate. It's pathetic, and it's common, and it needs to stop. So I'm telling you this to be aware of these things. Hopefully these video diaries might teach other people to stand up for their own rights. And if someone is giving you the runaround, like I said last week, that is playing a game. That is wasting time. That is hoping that you get so exhausted chasing basically the equivalent of a laser mouse that you don't actually get anything done. And I beg you, if you are facing a similar situation, because I know you're out there, I know my case isn't the only case like this. I beg you, see the games for what they are. See the diffusion of responsibility for what they are. And refuse to play along. And yeah, it will make a lot of people uncomfortable. That's their problem. Discomfort happens very often when there's guilt. And you know how you avoid that? Do the right thing on day one, not 149 days later.